Greetings, everybody. In Jamaica, they have an expression, no watch, no face. So don't pay attention to the fact that my face is not in the screen. But I want to reason with you today, okay? And I want you to listen very well. And I'm going to try not to cuss, okay? Now, from time to time, and this sound like an echo because I said it for a while. I would get stuff on Facebook. I would get stuff, related to Black history, and oftentimes it's stuff that relates to slavery. Okay, and I have consumed so much of that. I was on that train, I was on that bus, I was on that truck for the longest while. Because when you experience racism in your life and you start looking into yourself, because a lot of us as Black people, we don't really pay mind to racism. It doesn't mean anything to us until it happens to us. Till something bad happens to our kid or family member or to us personally. And so I had these situations that left me almost broken. Almost. And so I started to do more research. And of course, I've always been a history student. Okay? I've studied history, Caribbean studies, emergence of the West. I've looked at different history as it relates to, Ghana and our relationship with Jamaica, the transatlantic. I am all bogged out with all that stuff. I know the stuff well. And for a long time, when I looked at my experience and compared with some of the stuff that I saw, it made me very angry. I think I've said this a million times. And so it pushes you to go and do more research, more research. You get consumed with the stuff. But I jumped off that train, I jumped overboard that ship, that ship that was heading to Jamaica and all the other places in the West from Africa. I was one of those slaves who jumped off. Or like Sam Sharp, who says, I would rather die on yonder gallows than live in slavery. Okay? Yeah, I was one of those slaves. I was one of those slaves that, the runaway slave, the maroon, who ran up into the hills and say, I will stand up here and I'll fight and I'll defend myself until death. Many of us African people, many of us Black people, we love the slave story. We love to look back on the history of African people. We love to go back and not just because we want to empower ourselves, but to stay in the mire, to wallow in self-pity. And this morning, one of my brethren on Facebook posted something. And, he's a Black American man who's always, staying on the grind and always, bringing awareness to certain issue. But this morning he shared something and it enraged me. And I'm not angry at my brother. I'm angry at the fact that Black people is constantly reminded of these things that happen. So in this particular post, it showed how Black women who were pregnant would be put into the prisons with African men or with other men, or I guess, at the time, just African men, but they were put in the prisons, pregnant women with other men. And when they gave birth to these children, the kids would be automatically auctioned off. And there's a picture with these kids, in raggedy clothes. And something in me boiled up because I said to myself, no one else knows our history more than us Black people now. We're not talking about, we didn't know our names. They changed our names. They changed our language. We're not talking about those things. We're talking about understanding what happened to our people in slavery and beyond. See, we're not looking back at Egypt and our wonderful history from back then. We tend to get stuck at the part where we're slave. And what is the point of that? Because if it is not to make you angry and to then change you, what is the point of that? To say, okay, look at what happened to us. Look what they did to our children. What did it do to you? Because as far as I'm concerned, African people are the only group of people on this planet who have already forgotten. The more they bombard you with the truth and the more you go in search of the truth and you find it, nothing changes. Not a thing changes. Okay? You just put it out here to do what? To remind our children that, your foreparents came through slavery? Because guess what? White folks don't have to do that anymore. See, they used to do it all the time. It was a form of control. It was a form, to remind other generations of the power that was wielded in the past. They don't have to do that anymore because we find the stuff and we share it on these social platforms and we show it to our children and we look at it and we wallow in self-pity. Black folks are the only ones on the planet who have not used their history to strengthen themselves. Black folks are the only ones who forget this stuff, because what is the point in rehashing it and bringing it up and it's not changing anything? You are just looking for pity. You're not looking for change. Do you understand me? So when I see these things, I don't want to bombard myself with them anymore, because I want to be at peace, not with other men, but with myself. And the more I listen to folks, especially when they send me stuff, and the effery that we talk all the time about this, that, and the other, we talk a whole fucking set. We talk too much. And with our talking doesn't do nothing. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't make us look like cowards. It makes us look like fool. All of these things. Every time something comes up and you see the people run out, even our Jamaican brothers and sisters. Oh, we don't want this. We want this to a whole set of asses. Just open their mouth and show that they're fools. Better we just shut our mouth and be taken for a fool than open our mouth and prove that we are. Now, I'm not saying that you cannot remember or should not remember, because the other powerful groups who have had oppression, they always remember. Name every group that claims oppression, whether it be the gay organization, whether it be the Jewish, people, or Chinese or Indian. Everybody has a history. But what do they do with that history? They use it to empower themselves. So the Chinese community doesn't give about anybody. They stay by themselves and they don't apologize. The Indian community, they are building, growing from strength to strength. Every area you can think of, they're dominating. They set root down. And people are going to be in for big surprises, because they're not going to be able to do as they like with that group anymore. And, as far as white folks are concerned, they're here to rule, and they don't have a problem, and they don't apologize for their power, their strength. Black people are the only one here. And I'm not saying there's not the exception to the rule. I'm not saying black folks are not doing very well out here. In fact, what I am saying, the black folks who are doing very well in this world, they are silent. Because they're not trying to draw attention to themselves. They're very silent. They're doing the do. They're out there making great moves. They're powering up themselves, and they're not relying on other person. And in fact, some of them have planted themselves in the zone where they can learn from even people who they would consider to be an oppressor, because they're not staying in that mindset where, oh, poor me, poor me. They're saying, I'm staying close to you. I want to learn what you know, because I intend to change this for me and my generation, me and my children and my children's children. You understand me? The tear-up clothes, the runaway looking, the pathetic, the clown looking face, the sad stories, it is going to continue to surface. And we're going to continue to teach our children to watch this and to feel sorry for themselves. I ain't on that train no more. I hopped off the damn train, because I learned that regardless of who you are and where you stand and where you live, you have the power to change. You have the power to change your condition. So it doesn't matter which bad boy or bad gal or whosoever they think they are. If you understand that you have a power within you, and if you understand that the might that is given to one man is also the same one that is afforded to you, and if you understand the power of the spirits around you and know that they're here waiting for your command, you don't have to be afraid of no gal, no boy. You don't have to worry about what they did in the past. You're going to just say, you are a man like me or a woman like me. I stand up in the place here that was given to me and you. And I'm going to live my best life, and I'm going to celebrate my freedom. And if you come at me because you have two eyes and nostril and mouth and heart that beats and blood that runs through your vein, I am going to stand up to you, and I'm going to die even as you die. If I die, you die. If I celebrate life, you celebrate life. We need to stop with the BS, because what happened, unless we regurgitate that, unless we go back and visit that to remind us and to strengthen us, there is no point to it. We are living in North America and we're saying these guys are bad and this one is good and blah, 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 what they did. And we're not making any changes. And every time we come up with an idea that is going to help us to elevate us, we open our mouth and we speak. Oh, I'm going to do this. Oh, here's what we've got to do. It's all BS. So I can't stop people from posting whatever they feel like posting on their thing. But I'm saying here that I don't move past that. I jumped off that train. And I'm saying whatever you think is yours, whatever your mama and your great evil, wicked, vicious great grandparents did to put you in the position where you are powerful, I'm going to do the same. Because I'm going to stand up to you. Because this earth doesn't belong to no one person, no one group, no one race. There's no such thing as race to begin with. They're terms that are coined to control. But you can't control what can't be controlled. You can't control the lion. You can't control the animals. Because guess what? At the end of the day, their nature never changes. And you can't let people control you. And you can't continue with the self-pity. It's just annoying. My child is free. And she's free to operate. And she's free to stand up. And she's free to stand up against those who are against her. And with those who support her. Stay blessed, everybody.